What up, what up, what up? We back today. Trying to get this shit together.
Do what you do, man.
Hey.
Fuck 'em.
What up, what up? What up, what up?
Ain't like math, can't solve it. Yeah, I made a couple dollars, and I work to the people with the power. Had a lot of problems. Ain't like math, can't solve it.
What up, what up?
Yeah, I made a couple dollars, and I work to the people with the power. Niggas where I come from, they ain't make it out. Not legal, so they had to chase routes. We sell a paper with a paper route. It was hard to understand how I made it out. I was mimicking TV.
We're gonna get to it in a second.
Sell a dope in the drive-by. Now rappers wanna be me. She's sitting out of church life.
Hold on.
All they care about is church ties. Got tired of wearing shirt ties. Fuck running cause the nigga overqualified. I was on the crash course. Heart feeling like a dark horse. 260 on the dashboard. If I crashed, tell my son that I had a choice. Had a lot of problems. Ain't like math, can't solve it. Yeah, I made a couple dollars,
Yeah, what up, what up, what up?
Had a lot of problems.
What up, what up, what up? We back in the building today. We're gonna have another conversation. I came over to YouTube because I got tired of the bullshit with Facebook, but it was only a matter of time. So right now we're doing simple conversations. But today, last night I stumbled across two important pieces about this conversation about the Jews and the conversation they don't want to have. I would have never thought that that's what was going to end up happening. It was that I would find somebody. So for those that don't know, what happened is it was either yesterday or early yesterday where a Jewish guy called Wack 100 platform when they was out there. And on the platform, he breaks down like this guy, he's so rude about shit, but he breaks down why the black Jews are fake and it's not true and a disrespect. And it shows you a key into the mindset of where they are. So let me show y'all. I gotta go back, y'all. You gotta give me a second. So that's the key to this whole thing. So let's go. Where is it? Where is it? It's crazy how far back they're making me go for this. I got it on my screen though, so yeah, hold on. But yeah, good morning to everybody that's tapping in. Let's see if I can get it to pop up now. All right. We're going to turn this mic so I can play it for y'all.
We're the real Jews. We're the real Jews. Well, Zadie's on stage and he said he's a proud Jew. Bring a proud Jew up. So what's up, Zadie? What you have to say?
A proud Jew and a proud Zionist.
No, I'm gonna play. Hold on, y'all. I think that's low. I hate the way that go. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna play it from my computer. All right, we're gonna play it from my speakers.
Position they in the world. So you don't see the position.
Look at the chat. Look how many people in the chat are saying.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's the
wait. Listen, the Holocaust was a horrible thing. The Holocaust definitely happened. But we're not here to talk about that because we don't represent the lightning bolt. That is what we represent. So
that's easy for you to say.
Yeah, we don't represent that. Maybe you can like create a room, see if they're gonna come up and y'all can talk about that. But that's not. I don't think you have an issue with us when it comes to the Holocaust, right? You don't have that with us, right?
I have that with a lot of people in the chat, right? Like a lot of people in your room evidently believe the Holocaust is made up or the Holocaust was justified or we should go kill Jews. Had a bunch of people in the chat say if they met me in real life,
there's
a lot of fucking ignorant
shit in this room. Point one out. Give me a name, my brother.
Look at the chat. You scroll up. Here, 1 second. I'll find.
Give me a name. Let's.
100. Zach, you ignoring the fact that there are a lot of black people who talk to other black people and say, I'm a Israelite or I'm a Muslim, and you can meet me outside and let's have beef. We're not talking about that. We know we got smoke for you, Zach. We got smoke for each other. You know, damn well we got smoke for each other. Right, Zach?
All right. Here we go. We got one guy
That's
right here
that
that
camera.
says
It's crazy.
the Holocaust is nothing compared to what happened in the Congo.
So from the jump start, they're trying to say, Wack said, hey, do you got a problem? You know, basically black people, we ain't got no confusion about the Holocaust. It's fucked up. We ain't trying to tell you this, and that. And this how the conversation starts.
Going elsewhere. So we bring somebody up, you can do that back and forth. I'm not gonna do that with you because I'm not gonna say the Holocaust didn't happen, and it was a tragedy as it was as things that happened.
Very big of you not to bring a Holocaust scenario on stage. That takes a lot of care.
Yeah, right. Because that's not what I'm
That
talking
was
about.
condescending like a mug.
Let's just why don't you
No,
bring
look, y'all can't listen, Zach. Look, we ain't the only trolls.
Get out. Don't let them
One
get
troll
you.
can spot another troll.
Fuck
And
this
it's
white
cool.
asshole.
Nah, we ain't gonna do that either because see, y'all gotta stop doing that. Because the minute
Control
we do
your
that,
emotions,
they was
please.
disqualified out of the game. Like, well, why we did? Well, we got this, yeah, but we did that and because of that, they put us over here. I used to be the same way. If digital people all sitting here tell you I was a hothead. Zach, are you telling me that the Jewish people as a whole don't control a lot of the financial business in the world?
No, just
And
like
I don't think
just
that's
like
wrong
black
with it.
people as a whole aren't criminals or any kind of like theory that
No,
people
we definitely have black criminals.
speak
It's
about
a
it,
yes
community
or
as a
no
whole like that.
question,
There are a
motherfucker.
lot of
Zach,
so
we
no,
definitely have black
there are a lot
criminals.
of
bro.
successful Jewish people. The Jewish people do not
Yes,
control
we
the
do.
media and the banks. That's a bigoted lie.
Okay, so Zach,
Just like black people
then
aren't
fuck
criminals.
it,
So he asked him, is it true that the Jewish people are wealthy and in control of a lot of things? And he said, man, that's equivalent to saying that all black people are criminals. We definitely got criminals. And it's just like saying, he would be saying like, Jewish people is some wealthy ones, but it's some that's poor. You know what I'm saying? Or as they would say, it's certain rules. But watch where this conversation goes. If y'all see me sitting here not doing nothing, because we got to get deeper in this conversation. But for it to make sense, I have to let this play out.
But Zach, we're gonna eliminate the banks. Let's eliminate the banks. I know how to do. I know what I'm doing.
I work in crypto. I'm all down to eliminate the banks. Fuck the banks.
We eliminate the banks. The Jewish people don't control the banks. Eliminate that. In overall business, are you telling me that the Jewish people, and it's nothing wrong with
Jewish people don't control business in America. There are a lot of successful Jews.
not all the
It doesn't
business,
mean the Jewish people,
but a large
fucking
majority.
business. That's an ignorant statement. And you keep saying this ignorant
So
statement.
you said a
again,
large
like it's a
majority
fact.
of the businesses aren't controlled by the Jewish people?
A majority of businesses in America are not controlled by Jewish people. That's preposterous.
How much money per capita
Can I ask something?
is funded and sent to Israel? Zach,
Let Gorilla get in there.
how much money is
It's
sent
crazy.
to Israel and South Africa from the United States?
I don't have that exact number.
It's $500 per capita, probably about 10 years ago. It's probably up to like $700 per person. So in Israeli, they are funded by the United States government. They have 100% access to our military.
What does that mean?
Excuse me?
What does it mean that Israel has 100% access to our military? I don't know what the fuck that means. That sounds completely wrong.
Well, as a political scientist from the University of California, Berkeley.
CBMs, do they have access to all of our bombers? Like, that's just a completely ridiculous statement. You're not.
No, it's not a
talking
ridiculous statement. You just don't want to accept the fact
No,
that
okay.
Alameda County spends over $350 million in arms for weapons of destruction.
Yes, we
And
support
they-
Israel
and
financially.
they-
I agree with you.
And we loan those out, particularly to Israel and South Africa and other.
See, what I don't like is that when we having this conversation, that clearly from the beginning of this conversation, the untouchable, we won't say the other word because they get mad about it, but the guy that cut the proud untouchable, he comes to here with an attitude as if he knows all. Last time I checked, everybody don't know all. The all in all and knowing what's good and what's not good, that depends on us sitting down. The problem is we can't have this debate. So she asked him about, he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? How could Israel, that sounds fucking ridiculous. But when she broke it down, like I got a degree in political science, and then I went to the University of California and we studied this, they said, oh yeah, we do support Israel. I just thought you said you didn't know shit about it. See, this is the game and the culture that we living in right now with people who don't realize that in America, and this separation between the so-called black whites or the black Jews and the Jewish people, right? You see how quick I'm just pointing out all of the small things to you. I'm just want you to think about it. He said, yo, what are you talking about with bombs and da-da-da? What the fuck are you talking about? That sounds completely ridiculous. But as soon as she mentioned and gave facts and that she went to college, he said, oh yeah, we support Israel. I thought you made it seem like it's not possible. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
European UK nations, correct?
And NATO, yeah, of course.
All right. So with just saying that, don't you think that not just Black people, but don't you think that Native Americans and people, Latinos would have a big problem with everything that's been purchased west of the Mississippi? Don't you think those Native people would be up in arms about this type of,
Why should they be up in arms? Israel it's an ally of the United States. We provide aid to them. What the fuck does this have to do with this? You're making this into a racial thing when it's not.
No, it's not. It's just a fact.
Hey, go ahead, Gorilla.
All right. Just a quick question, Zach.
This
what
way
is
get
the
good.
ethnic background of the richest Haitian?
Sorry, what? What is the ethnic background of the richest nation?
Haitian.
I think the
person in Haiti.
Oh, I have no idea. Why would I know?
Jewish. What's the background of the richest person in Jamaica?
You're gonna say all these people are Jewish. I have no idea if that's true.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, anybody here can fact check me. The Bahamas, the Barbados, Brazil, etc., etc. Now, mind you, in Haiti there are 12 million.
How about the richest person in America?
Hold on, Zach. In Haiti, there are 12 million people. There are less than 2,000 Jewish people, but the only billionaire in Haiti happens to be Jewish. Can you explain to me how that?
I don't know. How did he make his money? You explain that to me.
So
what if that's fucking true? One billionaire in Haiti, it's a Jewish guy. No. What the fuck?
So the point, this is where the disconnect come in this conversation. In our conversation, I'm starting to realize, like, so you got the average Jew, and then you got the Jews with money and power. You got the average Jewish person, then you got the Jewish person, like, we talking about religion wise. Then you got like the middle class Jewish person. Then you got the wealthy and the elites. It felt like in each class, it's like the bottom two tiers doesn't want to acknowledge the top tiers. So if the richest man in all these countries are Jewish people, then how do we just say, okay, and what does it matter? Why? The reason it matters is because if all of these people in African countries are the richest people in the world, right, then I think that they need to investigate. They're still saying like that's completely bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Have you seen the list? Nickelodeon, CNN, Fox. I mean, it's damn near that's everything. But the conversation gets deeper.
What does that have to do with the Jewish people? You are equating one guy or a couple of guys who are successful to a whole ethnicity, which is fucking bigoted.
Zach, I like this. This is what's crazy, right? So Wack points out Jewish dominance in the realm of business. And again, if I don't understand how that's bigoted, like you compare people comparing Jewish.
If you want to say Jewish people on average do well in business,
Zach, if I could land, it would be amazing.
You have to let him land.
Don't bite. The contracts will be up.
Come on, you guys. It's a one mic policy. One mic.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna very simply, right? The idea, the notion that comparing Jewish success in business to the stereotype of Black criminality is the equivalent is insane, right? There's nothing bad about being successful in business.
No,
that's an amazing
minority
thing.
myth.
Hold on, man. If only I could speak, that would be amazing.
See, right? One of the problems is he won't let them speak.
Now, when we deal with criminality, there's a minority of Black people that commit crime, yet everybody gets to get stereotyped with something negative, right? If you're saying there's a minority of Jewish people, even though we could take a look at, like I just said, in Haiti, for example, the only billionaire in Haiti is a Jewish man. He did it through owning an infrastructure company in a country that has one of the poorest infrastructures in the world. Like, I need you to explain how that's possible.
I mean, I don't know anything about this man. I don't know how you.
So that means he's not qualified to have this political conversation or to even go deep. See, the problem is when we dealing with a lot of these conversations, people we dealing with the religious Jews who they're offended that we even question it. And this kind of, that's why I say people who watch this today, I promise you this shit gets so much deeper. You know what I'm saying? It's going to keep taking turns and turns and turns and turn into it. Oops, the real conversation hits the front door.
Expect me to tell you how this man who I've never heard of built a business. It sounds like he built infrastructure in a country that badly needed it, so his company was valuable. And your point about it's a good thing that Jews are good at business, and it's a bad thing that a lot of black people are incarcerated, and so they're not the same. Like, okay, maybe, but the stuff that you guys are saying is not Jews are successful in business, which I agree with. Jews are disproportionately successful in business. They're successful in science. There are a lot of Jewish Nobel winners who are successful in politics. But that's very different than saying Jews control the banks or control the media, which is the type of bigoted lie that's gotten Jews killed literally for centuries. And if you don't see the difference,
saying they're successful in it is saying the same thing, man. What are you
not
saying?
the same. Successful
They should let him finish too. I won't say that he don't make some good points.
and control in the industry are not the fucking same thing at all.
Okay.
But he's talking about the common person, like the people he know. Sometimes it's the people he know. He might have a circle of the people he know. He might not know too many super powerful Jewish people. He might just be a Jewish person that comes from decent money. All of this plays into account. You know what I mean? But it's, in my opinion, is that the community don't want to be responsible for the elite's actions.
So Zach, how is it a different thing if I can look at a lot of the media conglomerates, let's just say in the United States, and a lot of them have, Jewish chair people, Jewish CEOs. What's the difference between me saying they are, what's the difference between control and success? Explain.
Yeah, well, success is, I think, by and large, a good thing. It is a true statement that Jews have been very successful in America, right? It's obvious. You can't argue against that. That's definitely true. But saying that Jews control the media, right? They're manipulating things. Saying things like Kanye was saying, that the Jewish executives control the entertainment industry, are purposefully keeping black people down. That is a type of lie about Jewish manipulation.
Well, the question is, how is it a lie? They own all the companies, all the masters, right? They keep people in bondage, right? If you speak up against them, they ban you and block you. Michael Jackson, Prince, right? It's always a setup. This is not my point is, every time we hit a deep situation with him, he skips over it like that. No, the fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, or if you want to be in your feelings about it, it's true. But see, the problem is, just like how when Kanye showed us the list, most black people didn't know that. So you think that all Jewish people know it? They don't.
Population control. It is a centuries-old lie about Jewish people that has led to terrible consequences. I don't think this is that complicated, that there's a difference between those two. I think that you are smart enough to get that there's a difference.
What you saying that though, it's like how many Jewish CEOs of record labels have signed black artists who promote and propagate black genocide?
I mean, do you think rap music promotes black genocide? Like, that's something that like the Christian right conservatives used to say when I was growing up. Like, I just don't believe that. Like, I grew up listening to rap music. I fucking love rap music.
Wait a
I don't
minute.
think
No,
it's black
no.
Can I
genocide.
give an example? I'll give an example what Gorilla's talking about. And I just said this in the last room. Leo Cohen, who's the owner of Def Jam, he was asked, well, not the owner, he was asked by Charlemagne, does he take the artist talking about violence or the conscious rapper? He says, I choose popularity over the person. And so then he says, don't you think that's hypocritical? Leo says, well, I got to make a living. He says, so you'll make a living over promoting violence as opposed to promoting the conscious person. I'm paraphrasing the conversation. And then Charlemagne said, Dame Dash is going to call you a culture vulture. That's what they're speaking to.
I hear you.
Because
But
now,
I don't
if I know, let me finish. Because now, if we know that the person that's in charge of this company is only going to promote a certain type of music, and I want to make music or want to be successful, you have some people that are going to make that particular type of music. Whereas the only reason they're making that type of music is because it's what the people that are in control or in charge or whatever word makes you feel nice, because they are in charge. That's what Gorilla's speaking to.
Yeah, I hear you. So a couple of things. I don't need to fucking answer for Leo Cohen. I do not think Leo Cohen or any Jews created rap music to do genocide against black people. I think that's a preposterous conspiracy.
They didn't create it.
I didn't say that. I didn't. Wait.
Once again, you want to avoid what the issue is, to not be able to self-reflect and say, well, that is messed up. The same way how Wack at the beginning said about the Holocaust. To me, in this conversation, he came in this conversation with his ass on his shoulders and a lack of respect for black people, just in his tone, and it exposes more. Hold on, y'all. Let's go to this one.
Now keep it respectful.
Watch
I'm
it.
gonna keep it respectful. Now I won't say speak your piece.
I don't
But when you're dealing with the Nation of Islam, keep it respectful.
So I could see the title, throw a rock and hide your hand. So
Allahu Akbar.
I don't hide nothing. A lot of people shared a lot of views that are very disrespectful. And unfortunately, fathers, when I speak, it's gonna trigger certain people.
No, go ahead, speak.
When you got Farrakhan, right, who pushes Nazi rhetoric, same shit as a Nazi, right? And also problematic.
Wait a minute. Let him land.
Let him land, bro.
That word is rhetoric. It's not rhetoric. It's not rhetoric. It's rhetoric.
Let him finish. Let him land.
Okay, good.
Go ahead, bro.
So,
This way it get real.
So when we got, someone who's getting praise, who called Jews termites, who says, the Jews are the devil, and Jews essentially are the reason for everything. And also, when you get into the doctrine of the Nation of Islam, you see that they also believe that they are the Hebrews of the Bible, similar to the Black Hebrew Israelites, which I hear spewing nonsense here all day. So both communities, and this.
He said, "What I hear spewing nonsense all day." He said, "I hear in the Nation of Islam, y'all believe that y'all the Israelites just like y'all believe that y'all those people just like the Hebrew Israelites, which is bullshit." This is the true conversation.
Black Hebrew Israelites, which I hear spewing nonsense here all day. So both communities, and this is a message from a proud Jew and a proud Zionist. We ain't scared of nobody. Never been scared, nor will we be scared. You forget one thing.
Everybody scared to go.
Wait, let him talk.
We've seen more death than more people can imagine, right? And I ain't about to play.
Remember, you said that. Wait, hold on. Remember, you said that. Now, remember, because if we met.
He said, and we ain't scared of y'all. This the true conversation. I'm tired of hearing y'all blacks talk about y'all the Jews of the Bible is bullshit. I want y'all to think about this. And we've seen more death as if black people in America ain't see death on before the ships for the people that believe that, on the ships, after the ships. And even still, the end of the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, 2000s. I believe the Holocaust went on for about anywhere between 30 to 50, 60 years. Like from the beginning to end as far as the whole process. We talking about 300 plus years and still counting. And he said he's seen more death. I don't deny that the Holocaust was tragic, but we probably could compare the bodies in America, young black boys in the last 2 years to that. We probably doubled that. Chicago probably got that. See, it take a bold person to run their mouth and step up and say some of the shit that they be saying. And that's why I speak up and I chose to come over to YouTube. Regardless of what a person says, we have to always, that's why I tell people, I talk to a lot of Hebrew Israelites. I talk to a lot of Muslims. You know what I'm saying? When they talk to me, they say, "Oh, I heard you a Moor. I'm not a Temple Moor. I'm not a Science Temple of America Moor." No disrespect to them. But I chop it up with them. I chop it up with the Israelites. I chop it up with Muslims. You know what I'm saying? I chop it up with black Jews. I had conversations with a few people that I considered friends, like my homeboy Brian. He's Jewish. I consider Brian a friend who's older than me. Me and him used to have these conversations about politics, relationships. I was younger. I probably was like 23, 24, but he used to love having a conversation. It's not this is the thing. The conversation has to be had, but we can't be afraid to have it. There's going to be overly aggressive Jewish people. There's going to be overly aggressive black people. The conversation is a sensitive matter, but the reason why it's ignorance on both sides is because there's a way to figure this out from any base. You want to figure out what the Jews is? We just need to sit in a think tank of all sides and the best minds, and they sit down and they all dig through history for a couple months or years and bring everything together and then figure out what really makes sense. But let's get back to this conversation.
Make references at Zach. You know we're right. You should check your man. You done lost your mind.
I don't even know who this guy is. I mean, he's not my man. I don't know who he is. Never spoken before in my life.
Y'all the same community though.
Right. So it doesn't matter. It's a community.
But you lumping us together.
Guys, one sec. Okay, so I'm gonna say this real straight, right? You see the guy in my picture? For those that don't know who it is,
His name is Shine, right? Someone I used to listen to and fucked with for many years because I liked his music.
Great.
And I really appreciated his shit. Now, he went to prison and he converted. He's the only African American I seen in prison that converted to Judaism. And guess what? He did it the right way because he knew who the real Jews were and he converted.
Guess what? Amari Stoudemire, when he was in prison. Oh, no, sorry, not Amari Stoudemire. Shine, when he was in prison, he converted, but when he came home, he converted, and so did Amari Stoudemire. He did it the right way because he knew who the real Jews were. This is the conversation. They feel like they're the real Jews and we're full of shit. We feel like we the real Jews and they full of shit. This is a simple ass conversation. Cowards run, and the reason for it to be a conversation this strong, I think it's dumb. For it to be a conversation this strong and nobody provides proof, it's dumb. Even though we know the books say the Bible, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Today, he's part of the Jewish tribe, similar to Amari Stoudemire, who's been on the app and we've spoken with on more than one occasion, who grew up in the Israelite camps. Well, guess what? He went to Jerusalem and he converted to being a Jew. So if anybody from any community thinks they can claim to be something they're not, right? It doesn't work that way. You could claim any gender, any identity, any race, any ethnicity. It doesn't make it true. If you want to be a Jew, there's certain criteria you gotta have to make that claim.
According to who?
According to me and everybody else.
If you want to be a Jew, there's certain criteria. If you think you're us, you're not us. You're not us. I know two black guys that became Jews and they went to Israel and they converted the right way because they knew to come bow to us. That's how the fuck he's talking in this conversation right now. See, we need people that's gonna speak up and be blunt about it. You know what I mean? In my opinion, the Hebrew Israelite community is very intelligent with the way they go about things. But every time I talk to them, I try to give them an insight to where I'm a free thinker. So I would tell them, every time I sit in a room, I see people discredit y'all for certain reasons, intellectually, scholarly. Every point that's made is from the Bible and the Bible only. There's no historical data other than what we're using in the Bible. Or when I say where, I'm just saying people. Or like in the Bible. There's not a reference to like history, what's on the walls, what coaches showed it, said the same thing. They don't have it. They have the power of what we call the word of God. And in the intellectual room, it's cool. And I'm not saying that they don't have truth. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. I respect them. But I try to get them to see in the intellectual, on a universal arena of intellectuals, we have to have proof. So that's why they talk to the Hebrew Israelites like that, because they know that they can boast on them because they know that they're only using reference to the Bible. But as soon as they dig deeper, as I see them starting to, but really use history as their foundation, that's when this conversation changes.
We're the ones who dictate who's a Jew and who's not. And we're not going to have a bunch of wannabes.
He said, we're the ones who dictate who a Jew and who's not. They don't want to be associated with black people on a deeper level. If the Jews are known as black, it get dirty. It dirty the name. Whoever this is a bold motherfucker. But I thank him for putting this shit on the table. I thank him.
So if you want to have a real convo, we could have a whole talk. But we're not going to be sugarcoating and fluffing nothing. Because the shit that I heard coming out of a lot of people's mouths, it's really a tragedy.
Well, can you identify what you heard, please?
I already told you, Wack. When you have a whole community of African Americans that claim Jews are the devil, they Jews, right? And they'll point to that.
Well, we're claiming that we are the real Jew.
What?
Yeah, we are the real Jew. We're not claiming.
Wack,
we're not calling ourselves devils.
You guys got no claims. You guys got no right to make that claim.
Hey, Guap, check your back channel.
You don't have a right. You don't have a right.
I got a right.
You don't have no right to claim
it. I was born in Israel.
That's deep. Let's go back. That's deep. It's fucked up, but lack of education.
We're claiming that we are the real Jew.
What?
We're claiming we are the real Jew. We're not claiming,
Wack.
we're not calling ourselves devils.
You guys got no claims. You guys got no right to make that claim.
Hey, Guap,
You guys are black people.
check your back
You have
channel.
a right. You don't have a right.
You
Right.
I got a right.
You don't have no right to claim that.
I was born in Israel, the homeland of the Jews.
Not the white Jews.
My tribe goes back to Moses.
You know-
And I can trace it back.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You can't prove it.
Where's your DNA test? Get out of
We're
here.
not gonna have people.
See, when I talk to Hebrew Israelites, and I love talking to them, I always explain to them that, see, it's the question that they need to just be able to put on the front table for them is, what time period were your people that, since they're saying they're Moses, what time period was the people in what we call Egypt or Ekupta? And then once you figure out what time period they're in Egypt, who was the Pharaoh? So then we can go check history and look at it. And people say that don't mean nothing. It's two people's stories. You got the stories from damn near the people ruling or the other people that left there, and then you got surrounding villages who also write down what happened. There's always more references, but they have to prove that, or has to be proven, is what era were they in Egypt? Who was the Pharaoh? And find out and be able to align this shit up. That's one point. When we talk about Moses, the point I tell to a lot of people, I talk to a lot of intellectual Muslims, a lot of intellectual black Hebrew Israelites, but hardly any of them have a true historical understanding. So I have conversations all day, and the lack of historical foundation makes what's being said not feasible. Now, in this conversation, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I notice when we get deep in, I never go against it because I understand the power in Hebrew Israelites. But I understand that they have to go about a different way, and that's all of us. And no matter what you believe in, we're going to say we're something, we have to have the proof. The Bible has no bibliography. It's the only book that doesn't state its sources. So in a college, the Bible cannot be used, or the Quran, or the Torah, or any of these books, the Circle 7, any of them. Now, they can be used as reference if you can pin these things to historical evidence, writings from back then, from different civilizations that multiply point to that. Stone writings, hieroglyphs, you know what I'm saying? Tablets, statues, oral language. These are the things that's important. But those are the keys. History. The fact that I talked to all of these people, and my man called me with them, and I love having the conversations, but it'd be a little hard because I'd be disappointed the fact of the matter that we got so many intelligent minds with a lack of history. We talk about people and don't even understand. A lot of the people we talk about, the Persians, the Greeks, they were brown-skinned people or mulatto type people, some of them. So the conversation is when he said, I come directly from Moses. If you understand history, Moses from Chaldea, that's in Asia. This is the fact of why we need to understand history.
That woke up one day and said, you know what?
Prove it.
We want to be the Jews of the Bible. It doesn't work like that.
We're
the
not.
real fucking Jews.
Now, Zay,
so hold on. Shine is black, correct? Shine is black, right?
He says y'all want to be the real Jews. You're not the fucking Jews. This is the conversation that is the real conversation behind this Kyrie shit. You know what I mean? It's because we need to understand that in their heart, they're not the fucking Jews. They're slaves.
They can't prove that.
Let me say that proper. They're not the fucking Jews. We are. But I've heard Jewish people say that the black people are the people. If you track some of these records, see, it's how you go about it. They want evidence. Show the slave ships. Show where they came from. Track the eras. But see, some people, there's a good movement of black Israelites that believe that they came from Egypt and they were the people enslaved. Right? But they left and then they went to another land. So then there's another group of people like the Moors that don't believe that we were in Africa, that we was in America already. That's why these conversations have to be had. I talk to a lot of Muslims and Hebrew Israelites, and their understanding of what a Moor is completely wrong. When I talk to Moors about Muslims, their understanding of Muslims are completely wrong. When I talk to Muslims about Hebrew Israelites, their understanding of the Hebrew Israelites are completely wrong. everybody got a different ideology, but the certain premises are the same. And the truth is, if these things were more in common and put in the same room with the right minds who was open-minded, they would see the bridge in between each people.
They have lineage to
accepted him
Israel.
as a Jew, right?
Let Wack land.
You accepted him as a Jew, right?
And he converted as a real Jew should. If you want to join the tribe, and we don't proselytize, unlike you Christians and Muslims, we don't promote conversion, right? But if you want to make that claim, you got to either A, be able to prove it, or B, convert. So
How do you prove it?
You have to either A, be able to prove it, or B, convert and do it our way. So now I get my point. This is about intellectual conversation and historical facts, dated, time-stamped, and proven. See, I can tell how misinformed the Jewish community is, and I can tell how misinformed the Black community is. That's where the problem is. Ignorance. Ignorance. The high-ups of the Blacks or the wealthy know, and the high-ups that they know, these people know. But when we talk about the other 95% in both cultures, they got a lack of history, a lack of anything, right? So we're arguing off our ignorance, and nobody is talking in truth. This is all opinionated shit. But when we talk on our end, when we look at history, the Semitic countries, what his description was in the Bible, or even in the church in Rome, they got like a wooden carving that one of the disciples carved, and he's brown. And Peter was brown. So this would tell you, like, the argument is senseless, but clearly there's a hate between the different sects and religion. So now we understand why it's separated in the first place. This group wanted to say, okay, well, we believe that, but we don't believe they're Black, that those Black people are chosen, so we're gonna start our own separation. Oh, they're Muslims, I don't believe that, we're gonna go over here. And this is where all these different sects, even the same religion or the same ideology in a lot of religions have 3-4 different sections that translate or take things differently.
Right? If you ain't got the receipt,
How do you prove it?
nothing. Now, if you want to join the tribe, there's a way to do that, and there's a proper way to do that, right? And
He asked the question though.
He said prove it.
Your European convert.
How do you
And he
prove
land?
it? How do you prove it?
Shut up.
Man, y'all gotta let the people.
How do you prove it? That's why I said, remember, I'm gonna keep repeating this to y'all. Historical proof. What time period you was in? Your people was enslaved. The Israelites, what time period were they in Egypt? Right? Be able to put a true tag on the people, their description, what they look like. See, once you find out when, because we tell the story about the Pharaoh, and it shouldn't be that hard to find out what Pharaoh. Pharaohs love to talk on the walls about what they did, who they captured. If you understand Egypt and you ever just spent a year looking around using your brain, you'll realize, like, okay, some of this shit doesn't make any sense about what we're being taught. And that's a problem. Historical data. If you want to use the Bible as backup or other books, you can do that, the Torah, the Quran. Being able to show, not just speak about depictions of these people drawn by other cultures, because art has always been around. And proving that they took these people and brought them to America. See, it's a deep ass dig, and they know how hard it is to go after it. But if that's not the key, then it's going to destroy our conversation.
You really on some like Superwoman shit right now, blood.
Blood, I do this every time a white man comes up my time.
But hold on,
bro,
community,
bro, you can't have the conversation respectfully.
Exactly.
Stay on mute, bro. So how do you prove it?
Exactly.
I hear the question.
How do you prove it?
Is your mother a Jew? You're a Jew. If your mother's not a Jew, you gotta convert.
That's not
Okay,
proof.
Zaidi, hold on.
That's not.
Okay.
So how do you prove it? He said, if your mother's a Jew, then you're a Jew. If your father's a Jew, then you're a Jew. And they saying that's not true. Let me explain to y'all why that's not true at all. And that was one of the most ignorant ass statements I heard in the whole conversation. In the Bible, Abraham will be considered the first Jew because it says he was the first. If we use the Bible by his words, Abraham or Ibri, as I believe, as they said it on the wall, the only time they seen reference on certain dynasties. Abraham, if he was the first Jew, that means his mother and father wasn't Jews. So just by that logic, that's why you got to have the right people in the room when people running their mouth. The Bible said Abraham was the first Jew, meaning his mother and father weren't Jews. His mother and father had already had ideologies and religious concepts before he was born. He said he got his vision from God. So that's why that's deep. Now we're going to switch real quick. Before I get out of here, we had a conversation I came across why white people are so scared of black people in America. And this is a European woman talking. So for anybody that wants to make it seem like I'm being racist or made this shit up or just trying to be funny, this is her logic and I'm piggybacking off of it just to spark the conversation.
White people are scared to death right now, particularly white males. They're scared to death that they are going to lose their power in the future. And they are. But if you want to get ready for the future, if you want to be treated well in the future, treat others well in the present.
Call me Louis. This is my sport.
That all whites are racist. Can you expound on that?
Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle.
Right.
Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's got to stand back. Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made all, and everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place.
Go back.
Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made all, and everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males.
Which is actually anti-social study by white males.
A lie.
And it's all lies.
We do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom.
If we start teaching about the Nile Valley contributions, the Nile, N-I-L-E, that's from Egypt all the way up to Nubia, that whole river now where life started. If we start teaching them about the contributions of the people from that area, the dark so-called African Americans, blacks, we will have to change all the history books.
It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living, but we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over. We need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
It's a fucking lie. We need to. They know we know it's a lie, but they're still going to indoctrinate our children. And she's saying we need to get over this shit so we can get past these stupid ass arguments that are what are brewing today from ignorance.
Most people will say, I'm not racist.
I'm not a racist. Why, some of my best friends are black. Yeah, and then you say, name one. Or this one, I don't see color. And when some woman says to me, I don't see color, I say, I knew that. If you saw color, you wouldn't dye your hair that way. Or I say, if you saw color, you wouldn't wear that shirt with those pants. I believe that you don't see color. It's an attempt to deny skin color. And it's an attempt to deny what's wrong with seeing the color of my skin. Is it all right for you to see me kind of pink? That's okay for me. I don't mind. And I suspect that you don't mind being seen the color you are. You have a right to be what you are.
And you have a right to be what you are. And you should love being what you are. This lady has spent her life doing this, right? She spent her, Jane Elliott. If you ever get a chance, check out Jane she a rare soul. I think underneath that skin, there's some melanin up under her because she keep it funky.
And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women. They evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago. And every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure.
So everybody, he said, life started with 4 black women. And everybody on planet Earth has a mitochondrial DNA in their body, even Europeans and Jewish people.
In their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. And as people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. I found that out when I was raising little kids.
Listen.
My husband worked in a supermarket. He was the head of the produce department. And they had lots of oranges that they couldn't sell, so he'd bring them home. And I was feeding my kids orange juice like you never saw in your life. They began to have an orange cast to their skin. I thought they had a liver problem. So I took him to the doctor, and she said, "What are you feeding these kids?" I said, "Well, lots of orange juice." She said, "Stop it if you want them to stop being orange." Now, if you think that skin color isn't anything other than the body's natural reaction to the natural environment, get over it.
If you think that skin color is anything more than the body adapting to its natural environment, get over it. Grow up. They're lighter because of the conditions. Once the people that settled, that some believe is the Grimaldi, settled in Europe and the ice age hit, the last ice age, the Wormian ice age, that they had to stay in caves and they had to come out. So in order to survive, their skin adapted to the climate for survival and the things that they ate.
If all white people are racist, according to you, can they be reprogrammed?
Of course they can. Of course they can. Of course they can be. It's called education. I'm an educator. The word educator comes from the root dus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance. Now, I know you can change them. The second year I did the blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise in my classroom, it was filmed by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They gave me a copy of that film. I showed it to my father. My father was about 59 years old at the time. He's been a farmer all his life. He raised six kids, lost one, raised 6. Watched that film as a 59-year-old man. When it was over, he stood up, and with tears in his eyes, he took his red handkerchief out of the back pocket of his overalls, his bib overalls, and said, "I wish somebody had taught me that when I was 9 years old." Nobody had dare say to me, "This doesn't work. This is too harsh. This isn't necessary. You can't teach an old dog new tricks," because they're wrong. You can teach an old dog new tricks.
You definitely can. You definitely can. Y'all know I got a kennel. You can get an older dog, and with the right steps, you can. You can reprogram into society, educate them, and catch them up to speed and do certain things. You know what I mean? Some people they say some animals that you can't, or some humans you can't, but it's possible.
You can teach people to give up the myth of racism. Somebody taught the Greeks to give up the myth that the sun was a god in a golden chariot that went across the sky every morning. They believed that for hundreds of years. We have believed the myth of 3 or 4 races, different races in this country, for long enough. There's no such thing as reverse racism. You can only be a racist if you have the power to institutionalize what you're doing to people who are different from you.
You can only be
what we're calling reverse racism is natural reaction to being treated unfairly on the basis of somebody else's ignorance. Now, don't ever.
So she says you can't, basically saying a black person really can't be a racist in America because you can't call us racist when we've been treated wrong and being tortured and being cut off and being misused. That's called frustration. That's not reverse racism. You get what I'm saying? And we don't have the power or the economical structure to what? To make other races pay. Like we don't have the power to make any other celebrity who made a point pay us $500,000 and da da da. We don't have that. So that's why us being racist, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So let's keep going. And this topic is why white people are scared of America. And as y'all see, this is who the conversation is by. Jane Elliott.
Let anybody say to you or about anyone around you that people don't like that person because of the color of their skin. That isn't the reason white people don't like people of color. They don't like people of color because they don't understand about skin color. And they don't understand that we all are descendants of somebody who looked like your mother. You don't really want to get
that we all are listen to what she said. Nobody wants to accept, and the person interviewing her is a man of my complexion. As he said, they don't want to admit that everybody came from a woman that looks like my mother.
Get me started on this because
I do want to get you started.
I'm really angry about how we are miseducating the American mind.
In your exercises, in order for them to see the light, or is there another way?
It's necessary to do what we do in offices and in the military and in schools and colleges and in hospitals and in community groups all the time. What we do is we become our parent ego. We go into our parent ego state, and that forces all those we're working with into their child ego state. And if you watch our present, so-called president, he spends most of his time either in his child or his parent ego state. He never gets into his adult ego state unless he's reading off the teleprompter. And he is such a poor reader that oftentimes he makes mistakes, and then he is instantly in his child ego state right in front of your very eyes. It's absolutely fascinating to watch it happen. God created human beings, the human race, and they started out black women. White people created racism. Human beings created racism. It's time to get over it.
A lot of people have criticized former President Obama was not speaking out on race enough. Do you think he failed in that?
What if he had spoken out enough on race?
Right.
Imagine what would have happened to him. The man is still alive.
Imagine what would have happened to him if he would have pushed race. See, you notice, I seen somebody say the problem of people in America of all races is that we study the progression of people in the country of different nationalities getting power or getting rights and getting more freedoms, but we never study the backlash from the progression. Like when Dr. King, Malcolm, we never studied the backlash. So when Obama, for example, when he became president, there was a resurgence of this white supremacy movement. That's what led into this Trump era.
Do you remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Do you remember Malcolm X? Do you remember all those people have been killed not because of the color of their skin, but because of the fear of white people, that someone who isn't white is going to look better, sound better, act better, do better than they do. Mr. Obama was the president of all of us.